Look, fellas, it's just about doing our job. You're not on it. You're on it at all.
Now moving on to Cincinnati.
I'm not a scientist.
TEAM as in team.
We're champions.
It's football time, fellas. Let's get into it.
For more than 2 decades, Bill Belichick stood on the sideline as one of the most powerful figures in professional football. His record includes 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, 9 Super Bowl appearances, and 31 playoff victories, the most in league history. Under his leadership, the New England Patriots became the defining franchise of the salary cap era, combining defensive adaptability, situational precision, and long-term roster discipline. From the early 2000s through the late 2010s, his teams consistently contended deep into January, reshaping expectations for sustained success in a league designed for parity. In recent years, however, public curiosity expanded beyond defensive schemes and quarterback partnerships. Media attention began focusing on aspects of his personal life, including his relationship with a significantly younger girlfriend, which generated headlines and online discussion. While personal relationships fall outside competitive achievement, the increased visibility reflected how modern sports culture often blends professional legacy with private detail. This is not a gossip narrative, it is a full timeline, tracing Belichick's path from defensive assistant to dynasty architect, and examining how, late in his career, his private life unexpectedly entered public conversation alongside his coaching Ursum. Bill Belichick was born in 1952 into a household where football strategy was part of daily life. His father, Steve Belichick, served for decades as an assistant coach at the United States Naval Academy, specializing in scouting and defensive analysis. From a young age, Bill was exposed to film study sessions, opponent breakdowns, and detailed game planning discussions. He has often spoken about learning how to evaluate formations and tendencies while still a child, sitting in on meetings and absorbing terminology that most players do not encounter until college. That early immersion shaped how he understood preparation. Belichick graduated from Wesleyan University in 1975, where he played center and tight end, and quickly pursued coaching opportunities. His first NFL position came that same year as a special assistant with the Baltimore Colts. The role involved film analysis, practice support, and scouting preparation rather than headline responsibilities. He later moved through assistant roles with the Detroit Lions and Denver Broncos, building experience in different defensive systems. In 1979, he joined the New York Giants coaching staff. The climb was methodical and developmental, rooted in detailed preparation rather than public recognition. Belichick's national reputation began to grow during his tenure with the New York Giants under head coach Bill Parcells. Serving as defensive coordinator, he played a central role in constructing units built on discipline, flexibility, and situational awareness. The Giants won Super Bowl 21 following the 1986 season, defeating the Denver Broncos 39-20. That defense featured coordinated pressure schemes and strong second-half adjustments. A few years later, the Giants captured another title in Super Bowl 25 following the 1990 season, defeating the Buffalo Bills 20-19. That 1990 championship remains especially significant in discussions of Belichick's early career. The Bills entered the game with one of the league's highest-scoring offenses, operating a fast-paced, no-huddle system led by quarterback Jim Kelly. Belichick's defensive plan focused on controlling tempo, limiting explosive plays, and forcing sustained drives rather than quick scoring strikes. The strategy reduced total possessions and kept the game within reach. The written game plan from that Super Bowl was later placed in the Pro Football Hall of Fame archives as a historical example of detailed preparation. Within coaching circles, Belichick was already highly respected. Public recognition, however, would come later. Belichick became head coach of the Cleveland Browns in 1991, marking his first opportunity to lead an NFL franchise. The early seasons were challenging as the roster underwent rebuilding and adjustments. From 1991 through 1995, his record with Cleveland was 36 wins and 44 losses. The team struggled to find consistency during the first few years, finishing 6-10 in 1991 and 7-9 in both 1992 and 1993. However, progress became visible in 1994 when the Browns finished 11-5 and earned a playoff berth. They won a wild-card game against the New England Patriots before being eliminated in the divisional round. Momentum shifted in 1995 when owner Art Modell announced plans to relocate the franchise to Baltimore after the season. The announcement created instability within the organization and tension among players and fans. Cleveland finished 5-11 that year, and Belichick was dismissed following the season. At that stage, his head coaching Ursum reflected incremental growth rather than dominance. There was no clear indication that a long-term dynasty awaited him in the future. His career trajectory appeared uncertain rather than historic. In 2000, Bill Belichick was hired as head coach of the New England Patriots after a brief and complicated departure from the New York Jets organization. His first season in New England ended with a 5-11 record, reflecting a roster still in transition and a team searching for identity. At that time, quarterback Drew Bledsoe was firmly established as the franchise starter, and few analysts projected immediate championship contention. The Patriots appeared to be in rebuilding mode rather than on the verge of dominance. In 2001, the trajectory shifted dramatically. During Week 2 against the New York Jets, Bledsoe suffered a serious chest injury that forced him out of the lineup. Belichick turned to Tom Brady, a sixth-round draft pick from the 2000 draft. Brady managed the offense efficiently and demonstrated composure in close games. Even after Bledsoe recovered, Belichick chose to keep Brady as the starter. The Patriots finished the regular season 11-5, advanced through the AFC playoffs, and defeated the St. Louis Rams 20-17 in Super Bowl 36 on a last-second field goal. Belichick secured his first Super Bowl title as a head coach, marking the beginning of a historic era in New England. Between the 2001 and 2019 seasons, the New England Patriots established one of the longest and most sustained periods of success in NFL history. During that span, they appeared in 9 Super Bowls and won 6 championships. They reached 13 AFC championship games and captured 17 AFC East Division titles. That level of consistency across nearly 2 decades is rare in a league built around competitive balance and salary cap limitations. The Patriots advanced deep into the postseason year after year, reshaping expectations for what sustained excellence could look like in the modern era. Their Super Bowl victories came following the 2001, 2003, 2004, 2014, 2016, and 2018 seasons. Each championship reflected a different roster composition and competitive phase, demonstrating adaptability rather than reliance on a single short peak. The 2016 title became especially historic. In Super Bowl 51, the Patriots trailed the Atlanta Falcons 28-3 before completing a 34-28 overtime comeback, the largest rally in Super Bowl history. By the end of the 2018 season, Bill Belichick had secured 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach. His Ursum positioned him as the most successful head coach of the modern NFL era in terms of championships and postseason victories. After the 2019 season, Tom Brady departed New England and signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, ending a 20-year partnership that had defined the Patriots' identity. The seasons that followed marked a clear transition period for the franchise. From 2020 through 2023, New England finished 7-9, 10-7, 8-9, and 4-13. The 2021 season included a playoff appearance with rookie quarterback Mac Jones, but overall results reflected roster turnover and offensive inconsistency. The sustained dominance that characterized the previous 2 decades gradually gave way to rebuilding phases and competitive decline. In January 2024, Belichick and the Patriots mutually agreed to part ways after 24 seasons together. At the time of his departure, his career totals included 333 regular season wins and 31 playoff victories, the most in league history for a head coach. He had won 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach and 8 total Super Bowl rings, including 2 earned as defensive coordinator with the New York Giants. His football arsenal was firmly established among the most accomplished in league history. Yet, as his coaching chapter in New England closed, media attention began to shift beyond championships and strategy to aspects of his personal life that had previously remained largely outside public focus. In 2024, media coverage expanded beyond Bill Belichick's coaching Ursum to include attention on his relationship with Jordan Hudson. Public reporting identified Hudson as a former college cheerleader and pageant participant. Coverage also highlighted the age difference between Belichick, who was born in 1952, and Hudson, who was born in 2001. The gap became a focal point in headlines and online discussion, particularly because Belichick had historically kept his personal life out of sustained public view. The relationship became a topic of conversation due to the age difference, shared social media appearances, and public attendance at events together. Photos and online posts circulated widely, prompting commentary across sports media platforms. However, the attention did not involve legal issues, league investigations, or violations of policy. It reflected public curiosity about a high-profile figure whose career had long been associated almost exclusively with football strategy and championship success. Belichick has consistently maintained privacy regarding personal matters throughout his coaching tenure. Unlike many modern public figures, he rarely provides detailed commentary on relationships or family life. The increased attention in 2024 represented a shift in narrative focus rather than a controversy tied to professional conduct. For more than 20 years, Bill Belichick cultivated a public image defined almost entirely by football. His press conferences were known for brevity. His answers were often concise and strategic rather than expansive. He avoided extended discussion about personal topics and rarely offered insight into life outside the team facility. That consistency reinforced an identity centered on preparation, discipline, and competitive focus. Football strategy, roster construction, and opponent analysis dominated his public presence. When that same figure appears in lifestyle headlines rather than game breakdown, it naturally generates attention. The contrast between the stoic sideline coach, the media-shy strategist, and a public figure photographed at social events with a highly visible partner creates curiosity. The reaction is less about scandal and more about deviation from a long-established image. For decades, Belichick's brand was defined by controlled messaging and minimal personal exposure. The shift in focus reflects how public perception adjusts when a private figure becomes more visible in areas previously outside the spotlight. Public perception often shifts when iconic figures move beyond the primary roles that define them. During the Patriots dynasty years, Bill Belichick's identity was tightly connected to weekly game plan, postseason adjustments, and Lombardi trophies. His public presence revolved around strategy, discipline, and competitive results. Once a career of that scale transitions away from the sideline, the spotlight naturally widens. Media coverage expands beyond scheme and statistics to include personal milestones and lifestyle visibility. That shift reflects broader cultural patterns in how former leaders are covered after their competitive chapters close. However, none of the recent personal headlines change the measurable record attached to his coaching career. His resume includes 6 Super Bowl championships as a head coach, the most playoff wins in NFL history, and stewardship of a 20-year dynasty built within the constraints of the modern salary cap era. Those accomplishments remain fixed in the historical record. Personal relationships may generate public interest, but Hall of Fame evaluations and long-term historical assessments have traditionally centered on on-field performance, postseason success, and structural influence within the sport. Competitive achievement remains the primary benchmark. Bill Belichick's career spans nearly 5 decades in professional football. He entered the league in 1975 as a young assistant with the Baltimore Colts, working in scouting and special teams. In the 1980s, he became a respected defensive strategist with the New York Giants, helping win Super Bowl 21 and Super Bowl 25. In the early 1990s, he experienced setbacks as head coach of the Cleveland Browns, before later building a 6-time Super Bowl dynasty in New England. Few coaching careers have covered that full range of ascent, adversity, dominance, and transition. As his coaching chapter shifts, public attention naturally broadens. When competitive dominance defines a figure for decades, personal life often remains secondary to performance. Once the games end, curiosity expands beyond strategy and championships. Some of that interest reflects natural fascination with highly private public figures. Some reflects the next stage of visibility that follows sustained prominence. What has not changed are the measurable achievements attached to his name: 333 regular season wins, 31 playoff victories, 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, and 8 total Super Bowl rings. Headlines may evolve with time. The statistical record remains fixed. When evaluating legendary sports figures, an important question often emerges: should personal life meaningfully influence public legacy, or should evaluation remain centered on performance, championships, and measurable impact within the sport. Coaching records, postseason success, and long-term influence are quantifiable. Personal choices and relationships exist in a different category, one shaped more by culture and perception than competitive outcome. Some argue that legacy should focus strictly on professional achievement, especially in team sports where results are documented and comparable across eras. Others believe public figures inevitably carry broader influence, and that visibility extends beyond the field or sideline. The balance between those views often shapes how history remembers iconic careers. Share your perspective in the comments below. And if you want more structured, fact-driven deep dives into the full timelines behind NFL legends, make sure to subscribe, because sometimes the most disciplined careers lead to the most unexpected headline.